I found adult videos of my girlfriend of 8 years online, cheating on me. Her family, close friends, and the cybercrime police are involved. I'm really numb. Posted by you/randomdude01. Almost 3 weeks ago, a good friend of mine, Alex, and an acquaintance, Mike, got hold of a video of my girlfriend, Jamie, having sex with another man. Mike found this while browsing through porn sites with niche themes and, by chance, recognized Jamie. He got in contact with Alex about it, and both of them told me about the infidelity. When Alex and Mike told me about it, I went somewhere between shock and numbness. I couldn't really say anything until I saw the video, at which point I proceeded to puke my guts out. I couldn't even sit through a minute of it. The fact that it was edited to go straight into the action, with Jamie's face clearly visible, didn't help. We drove Mike home, and Alex had the good sense to force me to spend the night at his place rather than go home to the apartment I share with Jamie, with no idea how that would have ended. We shared some beers, mostly in silence. Alex did try to get me to open up about how I felt regarding Jamie's infidelity, but I was just numb. I didn't know what I felt and told him so. I felt like I was wading through water, with no thoughts in mind other than what was right in front of me. Alex didn't push any further, and I passed out some time later. When I woke up, I had recovered enough sense to realize that our relationship was most likely over. I went straight home via public transport, most likely brooding and or looking pissed. I wonder what the other passengers thought when they saw me looking like crap while trying to emulate Batman. I got home and found her getting ready to go out. She asked me where I was and why I hadn't contacted her. I didn't bother answering and just told her we needed to talk. We sat down facing each other at our kitchen table, which we built from scratch at my grandfather's farm, and that random thought pretty much broke the dam. A lot happened, a lot of harsh words were said, accusations and blame were exchanged. Too many details to describe, but essentially, I immediately broke down in tears and asked her how the F she could ruin the relationship we had worked so hard on. She was confused and wanted an explanation. I dropped the bomb and showed her the video. She cried and begged for forgiveness, but I heard nothing. More crying and cursing until I told her that we were over. That was it, and she just shut off? She slumped down, closed her eyes, still crying, but said nothing. This pulled me out of my anger, and I tried to figure out what she was doing. Talking to her, hard and gentle prodding, nothing. Absolutely unresponsive, so I just dragged her to our bed and laid her there. I went back to the kitchen and called her parents, Alice and Julio. I simply told them they needed to come and that their daughter was suffering a mental breakdown. I said nothing more than that, just told them that what was happening needed to be explained face to face. I shut my phone off, went back to the kitchen, and tried to make sense of what had just happened. Her parents rushed to our apartment demanding to know what happened. I didn't tell them about Jamie's infidelity but just said she needed mental help. She was on the bed, acting comatose but otherwise okay. They couldn't bring her out of it, and eventually, I had to explain. I didn't want to do it without Jamie being able to speak for herself. I showed them the video. They were heartbroken. I told them we had an argument, I didn't hurt her, but she probably couldn't handle the stress and broke down. They decided to bring Jamie to her university's mental health clinic. I decided not to go with them. The next day, Jamie eventually woke up. She was stable and responsive. There, she said that the video was non-consensual. Her family decided to report this to the cybercrime police. They didn't grill her due to her mental state, but her parents were obviously ashamed and unsure of what to do beyond following the psychologist's advice, which was to let Jamie rest and support her until they were sure she wouldn't implode. She was sent home to her parents. This was all relayed to me by her older sister, Jackie, who was trying to mediate. She asked if I was really going to end the relationship. I responded that I wasn't sure if we could even salvage it. 2 days later, Jamie's parents asked me to visit them for a talk. I agreed and went the next day. Jamie's parents and her older sister were present. We sat down in their living room. They looked sad and tired, and I felt the same. Jamie would be the last topic of our talk. First was me. They wanted my parents involved. I felt disrespected, as we're already adults, plus my father and I are tense, but I relented since I was already tired and a bit out of my depth. Marriage had been discussed in the past, after all. Finally, we talked about Jamie. She was stuck in her room, miserable and ashamed, otherwise okay. She would stay with her parents for now. When she was needed by the police, she could stay with Jackie in a hotel. They understood that I needed space. They had submitted a report to our city's cybercrime office. I was needed for the investigation. I explained that I wasn't the one who found the video but said I'd try to get Mike involved. They apologized on Jamie's behalf, but I told them she was the one who needed to apologize and that they shouldn't baby her. They agreed but begged me not to argue right now since Jamie might relapse. They explained the psychologist's assessment. Spontaneous nervous breakdown, no history of mental illness, concluded to be caused by accumulated stress from her studies and acute stress reaction from our argument. She needed rest in a safe environment. The psychologist almost called the police on me, but they convinced them not to, and with no physical trauma observed, they gave up. The discussion devolved into apologies, tears, especially from Alice, and other noise. But they wanted to take charge of everything: the investigation, Jamie's well-being, her education and finances, etc. I was kind of washed out of everything. 8 days later, Alice called me in the middle of the night, begging me to come see Jamie. Depressive episode. Kitchen knife. Locked in the bathroom, yelling for me. Worst hour of my life. I'm pretty sure I almost died twice on the road, and I'm glad my country isn't developed enough for highway cameras. I met Alice and Jackie outside the house, waiting for me. Jamie had mostly calmed down and Julio was with her in her room. They begged me to go see her, and with how bad the situation looked, I rushed to Jamie. She was a wreck, looked like her blood had been drained and hadn't slept in a while. She started crying the moment she saw me and reached out her arms. Whatever anger, exhaustion, and anxiety I felt melted away, and I embraced her. She kept apologizing and begging me to stay. I shushed her and held her tight. She eventually went to sleep, and I took a moment to think about what was happening. I genuinely felt heartbroken seeing her like this. This is not how I thought we'd be together in the future, much less this Christmas. I'm losing my best friend and would-be life partner. This was the person who helped me through my depression when even my own family dismissed it. She's the one who encouraged me to start journaling to process what I go through. It's actually ironic, she's the reason I'm able to write down all the details of her affair and how badly it affected me. She's not evil. She's a beautiful, patient, and overall wonderful human being. Thinking of everything we've been through, what we've done for each other, if I were to list it all, it would probably double the word count of this post. I love her and was prepared to be with her for life and face everything that came with it. And she destroyed that. I woke up before her and went to the kitchen for coffee. Jackie was there and explained that Jamie had had episodes twice before, and this was the worst yet. All of us, except Jamie, discussed what to do. Alice was undergoing chemo for breast cancer, Julio ran a business 20 minutes away, Jackie's workplace was already pressuring her, and Jamie needed help. The situation was screwed and everyone was exhausted. Jamie needed therapy. I implied a mental institution, and that almost got my head torn off, but no one could look after her 24/7. They asked me to delay the inevitable and try to help her. There was definitely some emotional manipulation, but they were desperate. Due to my obvious lingering attachment and my respect and love for these people, I agreed. This is where I screwed up. I went home and talked to Mike about the investigation. He agreed to talk to the police. I called Alex and explained all the BS happening. He warned me that this didn't sound like the right call, that a mental institution was probably the best option, and that I was just going to get hurt. Regardless, he said he'd stand by my decision and told me to call if I needed him. I love this guy. I've already scheduled a consultation for therapy, and Jamie has a separate one scheduled 3 days from now in my city. I just want to take a really long nap and get away from all this. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. The unfortunate part is that she isn't your responsibility. I'm extremely jaded about this, having had multiple people threaten suicide to control me in the past, but that's an extremely common tactic. What I would do in your situation is talk to her parents and say that you can't be responsible for caring for their daughter and maintaining her health as she struggles with the consequences of her actions. If they want her safe, they should commit her and leave. This will never be normal. This will hang over any relationship you have with her in the future. Not just the cheating, but this whole spiral, the stress of having to coddle and reassure the person who cheated on you, is hard to break. It's confusing and emotionally draining, and truthfully, you are the victim here too. I understand she didn't give consent to be taped, but that is a situation completely removed from you. Just as she is a victim of the guy she slept with, you are a victim of her infidelity. My honest advice would be to just remove yourself, deny being contacted again, and end it fully. You have to start living your life. Commenter 2. It seems really unfair the way her family keeps asking you to intervene and be there for her. Obviously, their priority is their daughter, but what about you and all the emotions you are going through right now? I feel like you need to cut contact for the time being and take some space for yourself. She is not your responsibility, she is a grown woman who has to face the consequences of her actions. Like someone else mentioned, if you hadn't confronted her about this, she would have been happy to keep the cheating under wraps and continue with life as if nothing had happened. Op's response. Yeah, I really need that space, probably years, too. To be fair, Alice and Julio wanted me washed off of everything. Prior to the knife incident, they kept silent about Jamie. They understand I need space and are actually surprised I haven't said anything about leaving. They're just as disappointed, and Alice wants to tear her apart but is obviously waiting until she's stable. They've already accepted me as a son and we're just waiting for the marriage, and now none of us can effing move on. Update 2 weeks later. So, it's been over 2 weeks since my last post where I proceeded to get my ass handed to me. I'm not complaining, you guys were right. I do need to leave and start living my own life. A lot has actually happened since then, but, thankfully, most of it's boring, sad, and disappointing. Got myself a behavioral therapist, which is something I should have done a long time ago. I have different problems unrelated to this that Jamie did help me through, mostly, but a professional really does make a difference. Gave me a lot of hard questions, important questions, that forced me to put my life into perspective. It was a liberating experience. Finally talked with my own family about this. For context, I'm not very close with my actual parents, particularly with my father. Broken home and all that. I consider my aunts, my father's 4 sisters, who stepped up to take care of me as a child, to be my real parents. So if I mention family, I really mean just my 4 moms. Turns out, they were more involved than I thought. Jamie talks to them, she loved talking with them about me and our relationship, and they got closer for it too. She asked so many questions about me, what I liked, food, hobbies, what my childhood was like. She'd ask advice from them about so many things, what to do when I get pissy, how to get my ass moving, all that cute stuff. Around a year ago, when they noticed that I started acting positively when they played around with the topic of marriage, Jamie and my family started to get ready. 3 of them have families with at least 3 children each, so to help ease the accommodation, they saved money to pay for themselves, and anything extra would go to the wedding, to us, and whatever comes after. They even talked about engagement rings. Calling them disappointed is an understatement. With the BS happening now, they opted to give me half of what they saved for the marriage to help me out and also offered to take me back again, which truly is a massive help. My biggest problem this whole time was a source of income. I didn't have a job lined up out of my city, still don't, and my savings are meager. With all that settled, I gave my employer my resignation letter, canceled my lease, and have until the end of the month to sort my affairs. I'm leaving for good. As for Jamie, I've gradually stepped out of whatever's been happening with her and around her. Talked with her family, or more like told them, that I'm leaving. Gave them info about the psychiatric hold and made them handle her appointments with her psychologist and whatever else she needs. It was a sad affair, really. I know it doesn't seem like it, especially with Alice and Julio making me stay and take care of Jamie, but this is a first time for all of us. They raised 4 great kids, their relationships are great, and they even extended that to me even when they barely knew me. Jamie screwed up the worst, and this isn't something anyone can expect anyone else to handle with ease and grace. I mourn the loss of a potential family that I could have been proud to be with. For the POS who filmed her? I still haven't confronted her about it, but Mike and Jackie shared what she told the police and how the investigation's going. It was a Korean national she says she met on social media for a fling. She said they only hooked up once, but that was immediately shot down. The video showed 2 different, distinct rooms, and she got pressured to admit where it was in case they could get anything like CCTV, social media posts, logbooks, witnesses, etc., and they did. 1 hotel still had recordings that day, 2 hotels had logbooks containing names and dates, and their DMs. She didn't mention rape, blackmail, or drugs in play, only mild intoxication, which was all obvious in the video, apparently. Everything but the recording was consented. There were some possible routes to take in terms of damages, but when a lawyer was contacted, it was pretty much dead in the water. POS being a Korean national currently in Korea muddied the legal waters. They can do nothing else other than contact relevant Korean authorities, gather as much evidence, and wait. But the lawyer wasn't confident anything might stick. As far as they know, they have no evidence that it was even POS who set up the cameras beyond the fact that POS stayed the night before, and the cameras are obviously long since gone. There are far too many angles POS can play to delay or even win any lawsuit that reaches him. It will most likely be expensive, drawn out, and with very little chance of winning. So they gave up that route. POS is getting off scot-free. Why'd Jamie do it? I don't know. Before, I didn't have the guts to ask her. Now, it doesn't really matter. I'm not as exhausted as before, and my mind's been clearer. I'm leaving for good regardless of why she did it. I can just walk straight out with no explanation, or maybe leave a letter for her, thanking her for the wonderful time we spent together, the love we shared, and a final goodbye. I'm romantic like that. Still, I've decided to handle this with as much grace as I can. I'll help when worst comes to worst, won't lay blame on myself or her family, and won't even mount pressure on Jamie for ruining everything. Not for Jamie, but for my own twisted sense of self-gratification, that I did all that can be expected and more. I will leave with my back straight and nose held high. Funnily enough, this did eventually show me how lucky I am despite everything. Yes, the love of my life cheated on me and had the audacity to throw a tantrum over it, my future's looking a little bleak, and I've found out so much repressed anxiety and anger from my crappy childhood. But I'm still doing pretty great. I have family that loves me, friends that have my back, and despite her betrayal, she brought the best out of me with wonderful memories along with it. I have nothing to be ashamed of, and can say with pride that I was a wonderful boyfriend. Hopefully, this will be my last update. If not, the next will be far more boring and less mouthy. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. Wow, speechless. This is quite the saga. I've never had to deal with someone who had such a severe mental break as your ex. It must have been a little scary to witness firsthand. Op's response. I was confused at first. She just shut down, and I wasn't sure at the time if she really was having one. Her family has it the worst. As I said in my previous post, they've limited as much contact as they can between me and her. Commenter 2. I believe that she really had a mental breakdown, but not for the reason that you probably think. I think she cheated on you with more guys, that she consented to that video, and allowed him to share it. She probably did it for the thrill and money. However, she didn't expect you to find out and for people close to her to see it. When you told her that it was over and that people close to you already knew what she had done, she had a mental breakdown. She probably came up with the idea that it wasn't consensual because it's better to be seen as a victim than a corn star by you and her parents. She probably already knew that even if she pressed charges against him, nothing would happen to him because he was no longer in your country. In your position, I wouldn't care about her mental health because she cheated on you, probably multiple times, disrespected you and your relationship, and put your well-being at risk. You don't even know if she used protection during her escapades, and even if she did, she could get an STD and pass it to you. There's also the possibility that if she got pregnant from one of those guys, she would probably tell you that the child was yours. Don't care about her health because she didn't think about yours when she started cheating on you, and her mental health wasn't the only one impacted by her infidelity. You need to find a therapist to help you navigate what happened to you. Don't let her or her family guilt trip you into taking her back because she is a cheater, and if you take her back, she will continue to do it. The only difference will be that she will probably hide it better. Focus on yourself and take care. Good luck in your new life, and believe me, you deserve so much better than her. Op responding to a commenter telling him to get tested. I did, blood work, swab testing, and pee samples. The whole 9 yards. Only got asymptomatic gonorrhea. From where, who knows, having no symptoms makes it hard to figure out. Not much of a problem. I told Jamie's family about it, and both of us got prescribed some mild antibiotics. Op comment update 1 year 5 months later. Hey guys, Op here. I've been here for a while, so I'm very surprised to see my nightmare being posted. I'm cool with it, but damn, I wasn't expecting seeing this to ruin my day. To clarify, this all happened in the Philippines. As far as I know, the Segs tapes were made many months prior to the first post. While I'm no longer involved with my ex and her family, I'm confident they no longer pursued legal action due to the lack of evidence and, of course, the complexity of suing a foreign national currently in a foreign country. They have no direct evidence that the man she cheated on me with perpetrated non-consensual filming of sexual acts. It doesn't help that it took many months for us to even know it happened. Edit to add, there have been a lot of people asking how Jamie is. I don't know. I don't intend to find out either. I also don't feel like making an update to my situation, other than that I moved recently and am doing okay. Commenter. How are you doing now, 18 months on? I hope you've been able to heal and move forward with your life. Op's response. Still in the trenches, but hey, at least I'm still fighting.